When my auntie and uncle came to visit, something followed them. I was only 6 or 7, and I'd never met them before, not in real life. The odd video chat before and since, with the time difference, it's hard. They came in the house, and it was like something else rolled in with them. A thick fog, only noticeable when you didn't directly look at it. It was heavy and coloured in sadness, even when they were smiling and hugging us and putting their hands on our faces and saying how lovely it was to see us. I loved them so much, but the heavy, sad thing made me recoil. I wanted to hug them and climb over them without the feeling of this overwhelming, crushing sadness crawling up my arms and sticking to my back. But even when everything seemed to be fine, more than fine, when we were excited, laughing together, wanting to know everything we had missed, when we were happy, it was there. In the corner of your eye, it was there. When they saw Dad, it was like the heavy, sad fog rolled into his heavy, sad fog, and it mingled and multiplied, spread all throughout the house, and it was suffocating. I hadn't realized he had had a fog of his own until then. Even if we were laughing at a story they were telling us about what things were like for them in New Zealand, or playing little trivia games, or perched around the sitting room with our cups of tea and box of Quality Streets, it was there, sitting with us. I didn't know what it was, but it's lingered ever since. I think it was there before they came, too. I didn't know how to see it then. I wonder if Dad can feel it. If my auntie or uncle can feel it. If anyone else can feel it. Or if it's just normal to them now. Unnoticeable and accepted. It's heavier and bigger and definitely much older than me. It might even be older than them. I think now I might carry it with me too. I can feel it sitting between my shoulder blades, filling my chest with nothing. Emptiness. Sometimes I hardly notice it. I don't feel it until I'm very still and not really doing anything at all. I notice it sitting there, and at first it's only light as pressure. Then once I've felt it, it's all I can feel. It's like it's dripping down my arms and over my head, coating my whole body in thick, black, hot tar and slowly cooking me outside in. It crawls along my friend's arms when they try to hug me. They recoil like I did when I was 6. Doesn't seem fair. It's been years that I felt it on my skin and in my chest and throat, and even longer that I felt it at home. And all this time I haven't known what it is. I'm starting to find out though. I think. 2.5 months ago, when I was down at the football match. I think that's when I put a word on it. When I was watching him play, Andy play, like I do every week. And the weeks in between, he'd come to book club with me. He hated it, but he was just being a good friend. I hated it too, really. I was just trying to do something a bit different. He was playing pretty well, middling to average, pretty badly. But it was a laugh. For both of us. It was muddy as anything down there, and the boys were slipping all over the place. He was the first one to properly deck it, slid right along the pitch, nearly all the way to the other side's goal. He should have at least grazed a knee or something, but I suppose all the mud and his big stupid grin meant that he was fine. Should have been fine. He was about to get up when the other side's goalie misjudged his defense and kicked Andy in the side of his head. Really, really hard. I can still hear it. And then Andy didn't get up. For a moment, no one was looking at him. People were just cheering or laughing at the goalie swearing as the ball went in the net. Then everyone was looking at him. One by one, the other players were going over. I watched a crowd grow around him, some with their hands on him, some of them shouting as if he could hear them. One or two pulling out their phones to call someone. Andy's dad pushed through, paused, then dropped to his knees, a hand on Andy's still chest, the other propping up his head that was swinging side to side and heaving with these huge, horrid sobs. I was still in the crowd. I hate myself for that. I should have been by his dad. God knows what he thinks of me now. But I couldn't move. I could hardly breathe. The fog that I'd known fog that I'd only ever known of living at home was pouring out from this little crowd of people, spilling out across the pitch. The thing that lives on my back, in my chest, in my throat, it was angry. Angry and thrashing and crushing all the other parts of me. It was enormous. And it hurt. So much. It was feeding on me. And it was feeding on Andy and his dad. And it was feeding on my best friend's muddy, bloody body. Now I had a name for it. Grief. Since then, it's been all I am. It doesn't creep at the corner of my vision anymore. It's all I can see. Some days the fog will clear a little, but the thing sitting on my back never leaves. And it has a voice now. Andy, Andy. On and on. Yelling or whimpering or crying out makes me sick. And one day in the past 2.5 months, I accepted that this is how it is now. Forever. Like my dad and my auntie and my uncle and however many people before us, maybe generations and generations of our family, passing down grief like other families pass down blue eyes. Forcing their children to feel the aftermath of death before they even know that things can die. No. I can't. I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can manage this for the rest of my life. I don't know how Dad or anyone else has done it. I can't cope. of this heaviness that won't even let me get close to it, or know it, or understand it. But I don't know how to live without it, either. It's been there so long now. Far before Andy's death gave it a name. It's a horrible, miserable, violent anchor. An anchor all the same. Without it, I might just float away. And what if there's none of me left? I reach round, and I pull the thing to where I can see it. It hurts more now than ever. I look it into the eyes. I hold it close to me. It feels like my chest is collapsing. And then it subsides. The heaviness dissolves, if only a little. I know what it is now. I've seen it. When I go home, the fog is still there, but not at the corner of my eyes anymore. It lets me see it. It lets me know it. I realize having grief and grieving is not the same thing. This is grieving. Moving through it. Working with it. It's mine. Not something handed down to me that I never asked for. It is mine.